花の香りがプンプンするぞ。エドガーは部屋を用意したって言ってたけど、それでもたくさん花が残ってるな。窓の外から見えた感じ、あいつの部屋も花だらけだったぞ。今回の博覧会はものすご
いいえ、私たちは調香師であって庭師ではありません。普段から様々な植物の精油を相手にするので、嗅覚を鋭敏に保つため、日常生活を送る場所では香りを排除しています。
そうなのか。ってことは博覧会に必要な。
そこはスイートルームみたいだな。隣が弟の部屋だ。ベラス、後で俺たちの荷物を運んでおいてくれ。ベラス。
ああ、分かったよ、兄貴。
それでエミリエさん、あんたの荷物はどこだ？ベラスに一緒に運んでもらおう。
実はまだ港に置きっぱなしなんです。生活用品の他にフォンテーヌから持ってきた琥珀酒が一箱あります。ブラスさん、一緒に運んでいただけますか？そうすれば皆さんに楽しんでいただけますし。
そりゃあいい。ブラスの好物といえば酒以外何もない。弟の代わりに礼を言おう。
そうなんですか？オドさん、ブラスさん、
おい、何をしている？
今のは先生の声。
Master!
Hey, Edgar! Are you alright? Can you hear me?
Who did this?
Kyria. August.
Kyria.
Hey, Edgar? Edgar!
No, don't shake him. He's injured. Just leave him to me. You two can... Oh, thank you.
I checked. It doesn't look like anyone passed through here.
Oh, but that's impossible. It's not like that kid can just grow some wings and fly away. Oh, the culprit, I mean. It's not like the culprit could have just disappeared into thin air.
I checked.
Oh, but that's impossible. Oh, the culprit, I mean. It's not like the culprit...
That strange smell around here. Is it coming from this bottle? Oh, really? You think so? Yoo-hoo! Do you think whoever did this was hiding in the flowers before they attacked Edgar? Well, we looked all over, but the only clue we found was that bottle.
The most important thing we can do now is focus our efforts on treating Master. Can you help me move him inside?
So, how's he doing?
When I administered emergency treatment, I discovered a residue in his nose and mouth. Master was most likely forced to ingest. He's still unconscious, and inducing vomiting could obstruct his... Ah, yes. The scent is the same, but the chemical composition is still unclear. But first, I do believe there are two people. Mr. Sylvain, Mr. Lucien.
Wait, you...
Hey! Were you talking to us, mademoiselle? I'm afraid we'd never heard of those names before.
Before arriving in Sumeru, I asked a friend from the Special Patrol to look into the creators of the Ghost. There were 4 people in total: the perfumer, Edgar, the one thrust into the limelight, and 3 others. A researcher from Sumeru responsible for cultivating the Auguste flower, and 2 merchant brothers responsible for promoting the product on the market. The 2 brothers capitalized on the mythos surrounding Auguste. Their actions lured in numerous speculators and profiteers, inflating the price of Auguste even further. In the end, they were sent to the Fortress of Meripede for falsifying their accounts and destabilizing the market. If you do the math, they should be out of prison by now.
Huh. And what does that have to do with us? There are countless merchant families in Fontaine. You gonna accuse them of being criminals too?
Every time your brother called you Blaze, it took you several seconds to respond. But when I called you Lucien just now, the name registered immediately.
Ah, Miss Emily, out of respect for your position as a famous perfumer in Fontaine, I'm inclined to believe that was simply a poor attempt at humor. You have a bright future ahead of you. You wouldn't want to develop a reputation as someone who throws around false accusations, especially among merchant circles.
You claim to be regular perfume merchants, and yet, when I brought up amber wine, you took it to be alcohol.
What?
Amber wine is a perfume I created several years ago. It wasn't particularly renowned, but I'm certain any respectable perfume merchant in Fontaine would know of it. Unless, until recently, they were living somewhere completely cut off from the perfume world. Somewhere like the Fortress of Meripede, perhaps?
Emily, you little...
Don't misunderstand, Mr. Sylvain. I don't bring this up to criticize you. No matter what happened all those years ago, the court has already passed its judgment. But Master's life is in danger. We need to learn whatever we can about the person who has done this. If Master's attack had something to do with Auguste, I would imagine the 2 of you might also be in danger. So I'd like to trouble you for some information, if I may. Tell me about Kyria.
Fine, as you wish.
Sylvain!
Lucien, if this will help us find Kyria, then it will be all worth it. Besides, we've already told most of the stuff to the Maison Orally anyway. You were right, Miss Emily. There were 4 of us at the beginning. Myself, Lucien, Edgar, and a researcher from Sumeru in charge of flower cultivation, Vijava. Sometime down the road, the Marechaussee Phantom came knocking, saddled us with a list of accusations, and started looking into our books. Oh, they did their meddling, and my brother Edgar and I were forced to serve time in the fortress as a result.
Sounds like he's still upset about that. Wait, then how did Edgar end up in Sumeru?
Master was convicted as an accomplice, so he only had to serve a few years. He decided to move to Sumeru so that he could put those events behind him. Still, Master was depressed for a long time after that. He stopped making new perfumes and focused on introducing students to the craft instead. That's how I met him. My parents had to relocate to Sumeru for work when I was a child, so I had the chance to study under him for a little while. But we can talk about that some other time. I want to hear more about this researcher, Vijava.
Like us, Vijava was also staring down an investigation from the Marechaussee Phantom. But before the Phantom showed up at her door, she set all the flower beds on fire, along with much of the mora we managed to earn. All the Auguste flowers, everything we worked to create, was reduced to nothing but a...
But destroying all that evidence, wouldn't that make things worse for her?
It didn't matter at that point, because she died in the fire as well.
What?
Sounds like you did an investigation of your own. Why even ask us if you knew all of this already?
The name wasn't mentioned in any of the files I reviewed either, but you two seem quite familiar with him.
Kyria was Vijava's younger brother. He was just a clueless kid back then. Somewhere in his teens, I think. He helped his... Vijava kept him close most of the time. The three of us were probably the only ones who even knew she had a brother. After our operation was compromised, he disappeared. There were no signs of him until recently, when people started saying the August flower had reappeared in Sumeru.
So, you think Kyria took something with him back then? Something that allowed him to reproduce the August flower?
Vijava doted on the kid like you wouldn't believe. She even told us to give her cut to her brother if anything happened to her. If she left something behind before she died, believe me, Kyria's the one that has it.
And judging by the liquid in that bottle, the August flower wasn't the only thing he reproduced. He managed to replicate the perfume itself.
So the liquid Edgar was forced to ingest really was August. Wait, does that mean August is poison?
Poison? No. Of course not. No perfume is meant to be ingested. Even small amounts can be dangerous, let alone ingesting a whole bottle at once. If August could be considered a poison, we wouldn't have even sold half a bottle back then. Edgar fell unconscious because Kyria forced him to drink perfume. It just happened to be August. He probably thought we had something to do with his sister's death. But to tell you the truth, I have no idea why she did all that. We're not looking for Kyria because we have it out for him. We just wanted to see how he was doing. And, if possible, work together to bring back August. We only went to prison for a bit of fraud and market manipulation. It had nothing to do with the product itself. As long as we keep things honest this time around, bringing the product back to market would almost be like honoring his sister's memory.
So that's why you never mentioned Kyria during your interrogation?
Yes, exactly. We were just looking out for the kid.
Anyway, that's all we know. If you're looking for information on what's in August, or what to do if you ingest it, there are only two people to ask. Edgar or Kyria himself.
Well, at least we're able to say for certain that the substance Edgar ingested was in fact August. That gives us a direction for further testing. Well then, I'd say that was a very enlightening discussion.
Well, glad to hear it. Lucian, let's head back to the room and rest a bit. With everything that's happened, there are things that need reconsidering.
Yes, of course.
Huh, you think so too? That does seem to be... But based on Sylvain's tone...
The way you exposed them like that? Oh, right! Earlier...
Oh yes, that's...
So you're,
Close. I'm actually a forensic cleaner. Once the forensic team and the Marechaussee Phantom are done collecting evidence from the scene, I'm in charge of clearing away the final traces my patients leave on the world. In fact, with just a small alteration to the formula, the same tincture used as the base of perfume can also be made into a cleaning agent. Basically, there are two sides to forensics. Those who collect evidence to expose the truth, and those who clean up the smells, bloodstains, and other substances left behind at the scene. I've learned a lot of death, but this time, we may still save the patient. Actually, Traveler, could I trouble you to report back to Tainari and the officers at Port Ormos? We should update them on the situation. I'll stay here and continue to look after Master. Now that we have a sample of Auguste, I'm hoping further analysis won't be too difficult.
Whoa! Why the rush? Did something happen?
What? Edgar was attacked? He's the most famous perfumer in the region. Someone who's helped countless people around Port Ormos. How could this happen?
Bizarre.
No, but we've got eyes all over the area. I'm sure someone's seen Kyria. I'll start gathering my forces. We won't let him get away.
What about you, Tainari? Do you have a plan?
I'm sure the sheriff can handle things over at the scene, and I doubt Emily needs my help looking after Mr. Edgar.
But she said she's not a real doctor.
Then she was far too modest. She may not be a doctor by trade, but she has a deeper understanding of human anatomy and pharmacology than most scholars from the Amurta Darshan. Not to mention the fact that Mr. Edgar's condition is related to perfume. Emily is certainly in the best position to help him. As for me, I'll head to the academia and see what I can learn about Vijava and Kyria.
Oh, that's right! Vijava was supposed to be a scholar from Sumeru. Do you recognize the name?
From Emily's letter, certainly, but that was the first time I'd heard of it. The academia produces a lot of scholars, and there are plenty of graduates who choose to pursue a career outside their darshan. I didn't have time to look into it earlier, but now it seems like Vijava's past could be critical to getting to the bottom of what happened to Mr. Edgar. I have friends in Sumeru City that can help me investigate. With any luck, we'll have news to share by tomorrow. I'll leave you and Emily to watch over things here in Port Ormos.
Ever tried chasing waves before? You want to try? Well, come on, no time like the present. I'll help you find the closest beach. You can only do so much on your own, but with a group, anything's possible. The most important part of going out to have fun is, well, going out. So just show up and I'll handle the rest. Woo! Whoa! Ah! Whew. You can only do so much on your own, but with a group, anything's possible. The most important part of going out to have fun is, well, going out. So just show up and I'll handle the rest. You can only do so much on your own, but with a group, anything's possible. Ever tried chasing waves before? You want to try? Well, come on, no time like the present. I'll help you find the closest beach. only do so much on your own, but with a group... Ever tried chasing waves before? You want to try? Well, come on, no time like the present. I'll help you find the closest beach. Woo!
Well, it's been a day. Wonder if Tainari's discovered anything. But things...
And I'll handle the rest. Need a surfboard?
Let's ride! Emily!
No longer in critical condition, thankfully. He's still very weak, but with a bit more rest, he should regain consciousness soon. My chemical analysis of a goose also... I was able to identify the components that give the substance its fragrance, but I also noticed an abnormal trace of elemental energy in the sample.
Elemental energy?
Hard to say. It was such a I had to use one of the newest unless you were abnormally As for whether Master's condition was caused by the
Oh, that reminds Paimon. Did Tainari come?
I received...
Oh, Paimon thought he might have stopped... excuse me? Is Miss Emily here? Oh, perfect! Familiar faces! Traveler, Paimon, you're here too!
Kale. Ah, of course. Tainari's apprentice. He's mentioned you many times. It's a pleasure to finally meet you. And please, no need for formalities. Emily is just fine.
Oh, okay. Nice to meet you too, Miss, Emily. Did Tainari send you here, Kale? Yep. Master and the others went through decades worth of records last night, and still haven't had a chance to rest. I'm fast on my feet, so it only made sense for me to come and give you an update. Anyway, based on what they've reviewed so far, they believe there's no indication that a researcher by the name of Vijava ever passed through the academia. Master considered that possibility as well, but the name wasn't the only dead end.
Master tried to track down people with a similar research direction or background, but also couldn't find a match.
How is that possible?
It's starting to seem very likely. If we want to figure out her true identity, I'm afraid another conversation with those two merchants might be our only...
Hey! Lucian!
It's Sylvain! Wait, you don't think Kirio came back?
That seems impossible. If someone came in or out of the hotel... It's locked?
There's no one here.
Lucian! Lucian!
That's Sylvain's voice!
Lucian! Lucian! Come on! Wake up! Emily, Emily, my brother, he's gonna be okay, right? He's just unconscious. Like what happened to Edgar?
I'm sorry, Mr. Sylvain, but we were too late this time.
No, that's not possible.
Traveler, Kale, Mr. Sylvain has gone through a huge shock. He needs some space to calm down. Could one of you take him to...
Of course. Leave it to me.
Thank you both. Mr. Sylvain, let's get you up. Here, take... Here, this way.
Poor guy. He's like a shell of his former self. He may have made some bad decisions in life, but right now, Paimon can't help but feel sorry for him.
Good person or bad, the death of a loved one is all the moments he shared with his...
If Kirio really was behind this...
Lucian can no longer speak, but the traces left behind by his death... Traveler, I've got things covered here at the scene. I'll leave you to...
Who would have thought? Yesterday's case is still up in the air, and how... Miss Emily, I heard you're an experienced forensic doctor. Have you been able to discuss...
Oh, I'm not actually a forensic doctor. I just happen to have some relevant knowledge. I did take a look, though. Judging by the temperature and rigidity of the body, it appears the time of death was sometime last night.
Then, would you mind helping us investigate?
Of course, I appreciate your trust. Many of the traces left behind at the scene will fade with time, so...
We'll help too. We don't...
bursting as the moon!
Carving waves! Woohoo! Amazing! Woohoo! May I present? Let my name echo! Boba! Get them! Chip! Fast! Surf's up! You're toast! Hey! Let's shred, Darcy! Nice and spicy!
This is where you fall. Overruled.
Eat this! Ah, the show begins. Part. Oh. Surf's up! Amazing! Nice and spicy!
Laid bare.
Check this out! That's the large! Need a surfboard?